Hi and welcome back to Vito. So today I thought that I would go through some of my favorite books and just kind of make like a book recommendation video because I have a lot of books. It's a problem. It's a problem. I need to stop buying books. So I would hold up my first book series, but I literally have like, I think 12 to 13 books in this series, so I can't hold them all up at the same time. It's just not possible. But it's Rick Riordan's series. Technically it's like 3 series, but they're in the same universe and it's most of the same people. So it's the Percy Jackson and the Olympians series, the Heroes of Olympus series, and the Trials of Apollo. The Trials of Apollo series is not done yet. It's only the first one that's out, which is the Hidden Oracle. Other than that, we have the 5 Percy Jackson books and 5 Heroes of Olympus books. And then we have some extra books. A lot of people know what Rick Riordan's books are, but in case you don't, they're built around mythology, and the 3 series I'm talking about here are all built around Greek mythology, and they are all about, you know, the demigods, like the Greek gods' children. These books are so good. I talk about them so much on my channel, but I really need you guys to understand how fucking good they are. Recently, I actually realized that I'd kind of gone from having J.K. Rowling as my favorite author, which she has been ever since I was like a child, to having Rick Riordan as my favorite author. Everything I love in books, Rick Riordan does that. And he's so good. There's a lot of things that I actually think he's much better than JK at doing. Like, especially representation. I love the Harry Potter series, but let's be honest, there's not that much good representation. It's a lot of straight white people. That's kind of it. There are very, 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 very few people of color. There are not really any LGBT people, and I understand that it's written some years prior. And I know that also the Dumbledore thing, but like, it's still not that good with representation. Rick Riordan's books, however, like the Percy Jackson series is probably not filled with representation, but the Heroes of Olympus series is so good. Like, there are 7 main characters and 4 of them are not white. We have a Mexican, we have a Native American, we have an African American, and we have a Chinese Canadian. There's actually more main characters that are people of color than there are white main characters. On top of that, we have the LGBT representation. And then in the new series, Trials of Apollo, we have Apollo, who is just literally the most bi person in the world, and he's just openly talking about the guys he's been with, the girls he's been with. And also in his Magnus Chase book series, we also have a Muslim girl, and as far as I know, obviously I can't say that 100%, but as far as I know from other people who are Muslim, they say that she is written perfectly, so he's wonderful with representation. On top of that, the books are so funny. Like, they are unusually funny. Like, you laugh out loud so many times, and they can be very, very sad. They can be unusually sad and heartbreaking, but then they're also funny, and their representation, and it's so good. My next favorite series is The Raven Cycle by Maggie Stiefvater. This is so good. So I think explaining the synopsis of these books will just sound so weird. It's a normal world, and then there's a lot of magical elements. Like, we have Welsh kings, we have psychics, we have dream pulling, which I'm not going to get into because that would be a spoiler, and it also has LGBT representation again, just if that's your thing, because it's very much my thing. And I did very much start reading this because I heard there was LGBT representation, because that's why I started reading books. And the books are so beautiful. Look at these covers. They're so pretty. Next, I'm going to talk about some standalone books. I wanted this to be like, I can only pick 1 per author, but I couldn't choose between these 2 Rainbow Rowell books, so I'm just picking 2. Sorry, you're gonna have to live with that. The first one is Fangirl, where Kath, the main character, is literally the most relatable person I've never read a book where I related so much to a character. I don't actually remember if she has social anxiety, but she definitely has some issues with social situation, and she likes to be alone. On top of that, she is just a really big fangirl, hence the name. And she's obsessed with this Simon Snow thing that is basically Harry Potter. And she writes fan fiction. She's me, okay? And the story is also really, really good. It's actually a long time since I read this, so I might reread it soon. It's really, really, really good. Like, it's not just her relatableness, the story is very good. Then the next one is Carry On, again by Rainbow Rowell. And that's kind of the funny thing, because while these are standalone books, you could partially say that this is kind of like an extra book to Fangirl, but I still don't want to call them like, it's not a series. So in Fangirl, the main character Kath is writing a fanfiction called Carry On. This is not technically that fanfiction, but it's what would have happened if Rainbow Rowell would have written that fanfiction. So it's the same universe that Kath is obsessed with, but like written like a fanfiction, and that's kind of like the perfect thing ever. It's very Harry Pottery. I think a lot of people say it's very difficult to get into, and I'll agree to that, because it's kind of written as if it's the last book in a book series. So we have to get so much world building into the first part, but like once you get over that world building, you meet one character, which is Baz. And this is not really a spoiler, but once you meet Baz, you fall in love with this story. The story goes from being like, kind of like, and then into, holy shit, this is the best thing ever. This love story is the most perfect thing I have ever read in my life. I think this is my favorite of these standalone books that I have chosen, because it's just so good, and I really want to reread it soon because it's really, really, really good. The next one is definitely the weirdest on this list, and it's Grasshopper Jungle by Andrew Smith. It's weird. It's weird. The writing is weird. The story is weird. Everything about this is the weirdest thing ever. So it's kind of like an apocalypse scenario where there's a bunch of 2 meters tall grasshoppers, but at the same time we're seeing this from a teenage boy's point of view. First of all, he doesn't know about the grasshopper apocalypse for a long time. A lot of the book is not even about this apocalypse. That's not as important as the big part, which is that he is in the middle of like a sexuality crisis, and also he has a girlfriend, but he's also kind of in love with his best friend who's in love with him as well. And he's in this like weird position, like he doesn't know what's happening, and he's trying to figure this out. And then there's just an apocalypse on the side, and the writing is so weird, but I love it. This is definitely the most interesting of the books. I was so confused when I was reading it, but I loved it, and that's a book I really want to reread. And then the last one is The Rest of Us Just Lives Here by Patrick Ness. This book is such an interesting concept. It's in one of those like scenarios where there are chosen ones. And this is written from the point of view of someone who is just kind of standing there, who's not one of the chosen ones, just kind of there in this scenario and keeps seeing like, oh, the school burned down again. This is just written from the point of view of someone who's not in the middle of all of that, but just kind of sees it from the side. But what I love the most about this book is its representation with mental illnesses, because the main character has OCD and I think anxiety. It's very well written, and I ended up crying a lot while reading it because I related to some of the things, not the OCD parts, I don't have OCD, but some of like the anxiety things definitely it kind of made me cry because I related a lot to that. There's not that many books that are about mental illnesses without having it as a main focus, where it's just kind of, it's important for the character and it's definitely a part of his story, but it's not like a story about mental illnesses necessarily. Like, do you understand what I'm saying? That's very important. It's the same as when there is LGBT representation, but their story isn't about them coming to terms with this and having it be the most important thing. It's an extra thing. It's something about them, but it's not what the story is about. And that's good representation. I love that. Yeah, so this is so good. Patrick Ness is a brilliant author as well. I also loved his More Than This, but this is still my favorite of his. That was kind of all of my book recommendations. If you have any books that you want to recommend to me, please write them down below. There is a chance I probably read them because I do read a lot of books, but still write them, because maybe I can get some new books on my wish list, because I don't already have like 200 books on that list, but whatever. I would love to hear about new books. So tell me your favorite books in the comments. And if you like this video, click the like button, subscribe if you want to see more from me. You can click right over there. You can click right there to see my last video, and I will see you very soon. Bye!